Have you ever wondered what truth really is in a world where everyone seems to have their own version? Have you ever questioned how to find what's real when opinions change faster than the wind? Have you ever asked yourself if there's still something unshakable, something that never changes, no matter what the world says? In John 46, Jesus spoke words that have echoed through every generation. I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. These words don't just describe what Jesus teaches, they reveal who he is. He didn't say he came to show the truth, he said, I am the truth. That claim changes everything. We live in an age of confusion. Truth has become subjective, personalized, edited, filtered. People are told to live their truth, as if reality bends to personal preference. But real truth doesn't change with culture or emotion. It doesn't depend on who agrees with it. Truth simply is. And Jesus says, I am that truth. When he spoke those words, he wasn't offering a philosophy. He was revealing identity. He wasn't describing a path to find truth. He was inviting us to meet truth in person. In the ancient world, the Greeks sought truth through reason. The Romans sought truth through power. The Pharisees sought truth through law. But in Jesus, truth took on flesh and walked among us. It wasn't a concept anymore. It was a person who could speak, touch, weep, and love. Truth, in its purest form, is not cold or distant. It's alive, relational, and redemptive. And that's what Jesus embodied. When he said, I am the truth, he was declaring that everything about God, his character, his heart, his will, was perfectly revealed in him. To know Jesus is to know truth. To follow Jesus is to walk in truth. To reject Jesus is to reject truth itself. That's what makes his words both comforting and confronting. Because if Jesus is the truth, then he is not just a way among many. He is the way. His truth is not a matter of opinion or convenience. It's absolute, eternal, and unchanging. This is why truth still matters today. Without truth, there's no foundation for love, no meaning for justice, no purpose for hope. Without truth, life becomes a shifting shadow. But when you build your life on the truth of Christ, you stand on solid ground. When Pilate asked Jesus during his trial, what is truth? He wasn't really seeking an answer. He was expressing the skepticism of the world. It's the same question many people still ask today. Yet the answer was standing right in front of him, silent, scarred, and sovereign. The truth was not an argument to win. It was a person willing to die for love. And that's the greatest paradox of all. The truth allowed himself to be nailed to a cross by lies, and yet the lies couldn't hold him. The tomb couldn't contain him. The resurrection was the ultimate vindication that truth cannot be buried. Jesus' claim to be the truth means that everything he says can be trusted, everything he promises will be fulfilled, and everything he reveals about God is real. In a world that constantly asks, what is true? Jesus still answers, I am. Let's look deeper into what it means for Jesus to be the truth. First, truth defines reality. It shows things as they truly are. Jesus didn't just speak about morality or religion. He revealed what reality itself is. He showed us that God exists, that we are created for relationship, that sin separates us from life, and that redemption is possible only through him. Without Jesus, humanity is blind to its purpose. Second, truth exposes deception. Wherever Jesus went, he confronted lies of hypocrisy, pride, greed, and self-righteousness. He called out the Pharisees not because he hated them, but because he loved them too much to let them live in illusion. Truth doesn't flatter, it frees. When Jesus spoke, darkness trembled because it could no longer hide. Third, truth restores freedom. Jesus said in John 8, verse 32, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. Real freedom isn't doing whatever you want. It's living as you were created to live. The truth doesn't restrict you. It releases you from falsehood. Lies enslave the soul, but truth brings peace. When you know Jesus, the truth, you don't have to build your life on shifting sand. You can rest in certainty. His truth doesn't depend on trends, politics, or popularity. It's timeless because it's rooted in the eternal nature of God. Think about his teachings. Every word he spoke carried authority because it was truth itself speaking. When he said, love your enemies, that wasn't an ideal. It was a reflection of divine reality. When he said, forgive and you will be forgiven, that wasn't advice. It was the way the world was meant to work. Even those who opposed him couldn't deny the weight of his words. When the temple guards were sent to arrest him, they returned empty-handed and said, "No one ever spoke the way this man does." Why? Because when truth speaks, even those who resist it feel its pull. Truth doesn't need to shout, it simply stands. That's how Jesus taught, how he healed, how he forgave. His presence exposed everything false, not through force, but through light. Lies crumble in the presence of truth, just as shadows vanish in the presence of the sun. In today's world, truth has been replaced with feelings. People say my truth and your truth as if reality bends to emotion. But truth doesn't depend on belief, it defines it. You can't change truth by ignoring it. You can deny gravity, but it still pulls you down. You can reject Christ, but he still reigns. Jesus didn't come to adapt to culture, he came to redeem it. He didn't twist truth to please people, he spoke it to save them. And that's why the truth often offends before it heals. It confronts before it comforts. When Jesus told the rich young ruler to sell everything and follow him, the man walked away sad. The truth exposed his attachment, but Jesus didn't change his message to make it easier. He loved him enough to tell the truth, even when it hurt. That's real love. Because truth without love is harsh, but love without truth is hollow. Jesus held both perfectly. He spoke truth to the adulterous woman, "Go and sin no more," but he did it after first saying, "Neither do I condemn you." Truth never shames, it transforms. And here's the miracle. When you receive truth, it begins to set you free from illusions you didn't even know you believed. It opens your eyes to what's real, what's lasting, what matters most. In a world full of noise, the voice of truth still whispers with clarity, "Follow me." When Jesus says, "I am the way, the truth, and the life," he's inviting you to more than just belief. He's inviting you into alignment with reality itself. To walk in truth is to walk with him. To reject truth is to reject peace. That's why the search for truth always leads to Christ. Because every honest question, every longing for meaning, finds its answer in him. Philosophy can speculate about truth. Religion can point toward truth. But only Jesus can be the truth. When you stand in his truth, the storms of life can rage, but they can't shake you. Because your anchor is not in human ideas, but in the eternal word of God. His promises are not wishful thinking. They are reality anchored in eternity. Every time you read his words, you're touching truth itself. Every time you pray, you're connecting with the author of reality. Every time you obey his teachings, you're aligning your life with the very structure of creation. That's why truth matters. It's not just about being right, it's about being whole. Lies fracture the soul, but truth heals it. When you walk with Jesus, you begin to see differently. You recognize falsehoods for what they are, fleeting distractions. You stop chasing illusions that promise fulfillment but deliver emptiness. You start seeing the world through his eyes, eyes that see both brokenness and beauty, both sin and salvation. Truth gives life meaning. And when that truth has a name, Jesus, it gives your story purpose. He said, "You will know the truth, and the truth will make you free." Freedom is not the absence of rules, it's the presence of peace. The peace that comes when your heart and your Creator are in harmony. That's the gift of following the truth. Not just knowing facts about God, but knowing God himself. One of the greatest tragedies of our time is that people confuse freedom with autonomy. They believe they can define their own truth and still find peace. But peace without truth is an illusion. True peace only comes when you live in alignment with the one who made you. When Jesus stood before Pilate, he said, "For this purpose I was born, and for this I came into the world, to testify to the truth. Everyone on the side of truth listens to my voice." The question is not whether truth exists, it's whether we are willing to listen. His voice still calls out, softly, persistently, cutting through the noise of this world. It invites us to stop searching for temporary answers and come home to eternal truth. The truth is not a weapon to win arguments. It's a mirror that reveals who we are and who we can become through Christ. When you live in his truth, you find stability when the world shakes, clarity when confusion reigns, and hope when everything else fades. And that's the power of Jesus' words in John 14:6. "I am the way, the truth, and the life." It's not just theology, it's reality. The truth has a face, a voice, and a name: Jesus. Thank you for watching Holy Path Insights. If this message touched your heart, please like this video, share it with others, and follow the channel for more teachings that strengthen your faith. May the truth, who is Christ, fill your heart with light, guide your steps with clarity, and remind you that in a changing world, His word stands forever.